So welcome to those who know me and who have come back to listen to another one. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Michele Buster, and I have been selling cheese every day for about 27 years now. Sao Jorge. I have a very soft spot in my heart for this cheese because the DOP, the organization that determines if a cheese can have the name São Jorge or not, decided to invite me to become an honorary member of their organization. And they flew me to the island and I took part in this whole ceremony. We did a procession around the town. They put a cape and a funny hat on me. And I'm the only non-Portuguese person who's been inducted into this. And so I feel very proud and I feel a big responsibility. This is one of the most important cheeses out of Portugal. It was on the island of São Jorge that I showed you. This is an island, very interesting because the way it's done is all the towns are on the bottom next to the sea. And then you drive up and there's another road that goes around the whole island, and that's where all the pasture is, and that's where all the cows are. Infinite number of cows, way more cows than people. And in fact, if we start going through the PowerPoint, I'd rather people stare at cows than at me because it's so pretty. So we can have a look and see, and I'll talk more about that if we can go back in the PowerPoint. So we go back here to show you the São Jorge, which where you see Velas and the red dot, that's São Jorge. And it's facing, as I said, there's like thousands of cows there. This is one of my favorite views. Here we go. There are cows everywhere. It's also, you can see here, they call them fajas. When you have a town right down by the water, you have all this grassy old top. This guy was so funny because he was just staring at me. I was walking around and he just didn't know what to make of me. And this is the countryside all around. It is so quaint. It's so beautiful. There are so much milk. So the size of a cheese is usually relative to how much milk is available. And there's so much milk on this island that they need to make large wheels because they have to do it and do it quickly. And there's so much milk on this island that they have 2 shifts that people work. We went into the fields at 8:30 at night to watch everybody was milking their cows. They went from milking the cows directly to the cheese plant to start producing. They produced cheese from 9 p.m. until 4 in the morning. Then the second shift came in at 7 in the morning till late in the afternoon. And that's every single day. They can't stop for a moment. Now think of what we all did during the pandemic, okay? Our lives like kind of stopped for a while, but anybody who makes cheese or who works with animals, they were forced to keep going. The animals didn't know from pandemic or not, the animals still produced. And people had to do something with that milk or it would be lost. So there was a whole lot of cheese being made and not an outlet for it, not nearly enough of an outlet. And this isn't just on São Jorge, this is so many of my producers who made larger wheels of cheese who had to think about how can I sell this cheese now? It was just, you know, a huge crisis. I had some people produce videos showing the animals because, you know, they're like, the animals can't go on vacation. The animals can't stop. There are a lot of things in our everyday life we don't stop to think about that, you know, just happen as, you know, as an effect of something else. But so São Jorge, an island who's known for this cheese São Jorge. They also have a cheese, another cheese called topo for, but it's also cow's milk. The São Jorge is a DOP cheese, so it's a cheese that can only be given the name if they follow certain rules and regulations of an organizing body that oversees its quality control. It's always raw milk. So when you make a raw milk cheese, it's different than a pasteurized cheese because sometimes there's more notes that can change, less homogeneity to it. Sometimes it can be a little bit more assertive. Sometimes it can be a little bit milder. Sometimes you can have more fruity notes. Sometimes you have more earthy notes. having a raw milk cheese means that there's a little bit less consistency. Having a raw milk cheese meaning you get a lower yield also and make less cheese. So there's a lot of things to making it. I call this kind of like my Portuguese cheddar. It has a little bit of a cheddary texture. Now I'm not tasting what you got. So I don't know if you've gotten a cheese that's kind of round with some good fruit notes and that has still a bite in it. Sometimes that Sao Jorge has this kick of acidity in the back and at the front in the tongue. So since we do this through a retailer, it can be various different wheels. And today I'm not sharing with you. So it would be fun to have somebody give some of their adjectives for what they're tasting with it. And whether you're drinking a wine where you thought white or red would go better with it. Very salty, interesting. The cheese is semi-firm, right? So it should be around 4 months, 120 days. Curious about the very salty part to it, because that's not one of the areas where it usually has it. Is it a little bit, is it piquant? Do you have like a little kick to it? And yep, that's in the raw milk natures there. I'll bet if you eat that together with that wonderful oak honey, you're gonna have like that silkiness and that voluptuousness of that flavor that'll just make the two pair, you know, really terrific together. We just sometimes don't know what we'll get from raw milk, and that's its allure, and sometimes it's challenge with what might happen. So not every wheel is the same, and some wheels are spectacular, and some are less than spectacular. Here's the cows again. I never tire of showing this or seeing this. It was just amazing. For as far as you can see, there are just cows and cows and cows. And again, this is like in the top part of the island. They have some really cool walks that you can do too. You can walk through the fields and down. There was a great path, and I was told that, you know, if you walk, you can go from all the little towns that are there, but I got lost in the forest. And they said, there are markers. And I'm calling my producer. I'm like, I don't know where to go. And there I came upon a cow and her baby, and they were standing in front of the marker. And I had to wait like 30 minutes until they left, because I heard that the cows could be really mean if they're with their young. And only when she moved did I see the way that I could continue, because I thought I was going to be stranded. Here you go. This is like the garb from the DOP. And I have to say, I still feel greatly, you know, honored that they wanted to name me as part of this. And I've been seen to go through the airport. I wore this to the island of Terceira last year. But this is very important for them, the tradition. This cheese is part of the tradition. It dates back hundreds and hundreds of years. This cheese is one that they use for anything. They have it super aged that they use it for grating. We went to this lunch and oh my God, I did not want to see São Jorge forever. It was in the appetizer with olives. It was in the first course. Then it was grated over pasta. Then it was served with a dessert. I don't even remember what the dessert was, but they used it any way you could think of it. Plain, shredded, grated, you know, just by itself. It was the funniest thing. But, you know, the pride that they take with it is just, you know, absolutely amazing. And there's so many families that are, you know, dependent upon this, all facets of this to work, from the farmer to the people who milk the animals, to the people who work in the cheese plant. They employ a lot of people. Here's just some of the, so what a difference from the tiny little wheels to the bigger wheels that are on the aging. It's wood here. This is a machine that they're taking them out of the molds. They were actually, this is a vertical press. If you remember, the other one was a horizontal press. This is a different style. So they're pressing the cheese for a few hours because it's to get that whey out of it and to start the process. From here, it would go to be salted. And these ladies just were amazing, how they got the cheesecloth on there and just the labor involved here. Anyway, that's what I have for you today. Since we fly our cheeses in, I went with some of our more regular ones. We do have more esoteric cheeses that are out there, and in specialty stores, they tend to carry more Portuguese cheeses, but it takes a long time to explain them. And so we bring everything by plane, and we bring some things by pre-order only, so that when it gets here, we know exactly where it's going, and those people have a longer shelf life to sell the cheese, because these are, you know, they don't last a long time, or they're not something that we can store in our warehouse for a really long time. And we want the cheese to be happy. Other than that, I thank you so much for spending some time with us today. It's always my honor and pleasure. And hopefully we'll be doing some things more. I think I'm going to take a break for a few months, because it's getting, times are changing and people want to be away from the computer and out in nature. So thanks again for joining us.
Thanks, Michelle. That was really wonderful. So for those that are looking to get more cheese, you know, they should be able to go through Verdun.
Bruno.
Yes. And I would check through there to see whether or not they've picked up some more, or you can always check with them and ask them. It's always a good idea that instead of just going on there and seeing that they're out of stock, they can sometimes tell you when they plan on getting something in, and some of the things you can do. So,
You can write me. You can write me at Michelle with one L at forevercheese.com, and I'll help make it happen. I did talk to them and tell them that, you know, there was a number of people who signed on after they closed the ability to get cheese. So they said that they would build in some. So please, and otherwise you can also write to me and let me know where you're located, and I could maybe help you get another retailer in your area.
thank you. And for those of you that are first time on this, we also have Taste of Italy, Taste of Croatia, that we've already had a chance to do, and including Taste of Spain. So this makes our fourth in the series. And hopefully by fall, we'll have the charcuterie together and
Yay.
tie that in for our number 5.
Thank you so much, Michael.
All
Appreciate
right,
it. Thank
thank you,
you,
Michelle.
everybody. Have a great rest of your day.
All right, you too. All right, bye-bye.
Bye.